Hello, RE out there. It's Mark with HFD Review, and we are back, I guess. So, Outrageous Maximum posted a couple months back the Paladin of Merit. Paladins of Merit. Sure, there's going to be more than one, I would imagine. So, I will remind everyone that if you have Homebrew spells, subclasses I prefer over full classes, because full classes take a lot to break down and understand. It's just my preference. Items, artwork you've done, anything like that that is related to D&D or fantasy role-playing, post it. I'll try and get to it, and we'll put it onto our HFD review channel. It's a very small channel, the very niche group of people, but if you want to get your ideas out there and share them with just like a handful of folks, this is a good way to do it. And I'll try and get out one of these videos a week here through 2025. We'll see how the channel goes. But thank you so much, Outrageous, for pulling us back into proper homebrew review. Also, one last thing, try to adjust stuff if you folks care to the new 2024 rule set and kind of layout. In my opinion, that would be better to just keep, I guess, it kind of relevant to modern players and stuff, and people who are interested in homebrewing for a bunch of brand new subclasses and mechanics and stuff like that. So here we go. Paladin of Merit, the Oath of Merit. So paladins who believe that all good things should come from the effort of an individual, not luck or cheating. Knowing that the world is not a meritocracy, they have sworn themselves to undermine the undeserving and give to those unfairly treated. While most of these paladins also have a strong moral code, others are dedicated entirely to merit and believe immoral acts are justified by effort put into them. Master plan from an evil guy is well deserving of its rewards, I guess. A paladin often devotes themselves to this oath in response to injustice and unfair treatment in the system, which idealizes merit but which displays disproportionate reward for work across class lines. As such, these paladins often help lower class workers and antagonize powerful people such as kings. That's right, and I could even see scenarios where, say, kobolds enslaved by an ogre or some illithid or something like that, the little evil peons that we'd normally stomp all over in our adventures. I could see a paladin like this taking even their side. It tracks with the Paladin of Merit's oath. So here's the tenets of merit. One's success and happiness in life should be based on the effort of their work and relative to how much more they work than others. Those who achieve wealth with little effort must have the riches taken from them, regardless of if it goes to the more deserving or is destroyed. Those that work hard and have little should receive my charity. Powerful people often protect themselves. If you cannot overpower them to take their wealth, find a subversive method. If you cannot do that, wait until you have enough power and influence to do so. Wow, okay, and optional for evil. Evil is often used to obtain wealth with little effort, but hard-fought acts of evil that don't overly compensate oneself are justified. Yeah, if the evil person really believes in their cause, it just happens to hurt a lot of people, it doesn't matter as long as they're not enriching themselves, fattening their own piggy bank to do their evil. Yeah, sometimes you got to raise an army of the undead, folks. Yeah, bones get broken. Here we go. So, level 3, you're going to dip into your subclass here. Channel Divinity, obviously, in your Oath spell list. At 7th level, you'll get your Aura. At 15, you'll get a boon / curse. At 18th, you'll get your Aura improvement, 10 foot to 30 feet. Pretty standard. And at 20th, we get pains into gains. Oh, yeah. No pains, no gains. No. This is, we'll give you pains, and we'll give some people gains. And we're going to pick who gets them. Oath spells. And I really like how Outrageous did this. It's very black, white, yin, yang. Good balance. And I think you guys will just see that as we read through these really quickly. Obviously, these are more or less common spells, so you're welcome to just look them up in your player's handbook or on D&D Beyond if you don't know what some of these spells are. We have Bane and Bless, which are functionally just the reverses of each other's. Enlarge, Reduce, which is its own inverse by itself. You can make something smaller or larger. And Wither and Bloom, nice touch. Third level, we have Aurora of Vitality, and we also have Bestow Curse. Fourth level, Elemental Bane, and that's one I'm honestly not familiar with. I will have to look that up. And Stone Skin. So Stone Skin clearly is going to allow you to protect yourself defensively, so I'm guessing Elemental Bane is some sort of horrible weakness you afflict on a target to make them take more damage, if judging by how the balances are working. And finally, fifth level, Gaius or Skill Empowerment. I was going to say improvement. It was skill improvement. That's a spell. Skill Empowerment. Okay. Now we're jumping in here to the Channel Divinity. Now I was a little confused, Outrageous. You have 2 Channel Divinity options. Sorry, I got a light cough brewing here, folks. Now, to be fair, I don't really care. You're given a little more versatility, but you've only got a limited amount of Channel Divinity as a Paladin, so it's not like it's overpowered. It's just maybe it just doesn't quite match the format, I guess. So that's for me, that's a little minus vote. But let's read through them. These get pretty complex here, so try and follow along. Deserved Luck. When another creature within 30 feet makes an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, you can use a reaction to roll a d12 and subtract that from their roll. You can then add the rolled number to the same type of roll made by another creature. Ability check, saving throw, or attack roll. The effect expires after 1 hour if the d12 is unused. Very cool. Now, I would say the verbiage per 2024, if you care, Outrageous, should be a d20 test or a d20 roll, is opposed to, labeling it all out, ability check, attack roll, saving throw. Yeah. Just as far as, making things read the same. They made a real effort to just say, no, if you're rolling a d20, it's just a d20 check. And I think that would work well for what you're after here. I think that is very cool. It's not overpowered. The fact that you can do the subtract as a reaction is nice. I always like the ability to the more reactions you give to characters, the more powerful they are. Let's see, little power gamer secret there is you better have everyone has actions, but you better have bonus actions. You better have reactions your character can do if you want to make your character the most effective. So I really like that that's a reaction, and the fact that when it's not your turn, you can affect almost anything someone else does detrimentally. Now, you don't know if you're going to roll a 1 or a 2 on that d12, and you're not going to get a lot of effect. But if you roll a 11 or 12, yeah, you're going to spoil someone's day, and that you get to choose whether that's ally or enemy, right? It doesn't even matter if it's detrimental to them or not. You're not really saying that. You could target a saving throw. All you can do is take away, though, to be fair. But it's pretty cool. And then essentially, by being able to bestow that same value roll, so say in this case you roll a 6, you can bestow a +6 to a roll of the same type made by another creature. Could you... I mean, it is a Channel Divinity, and it may be a little hairy to keep track of that. We don't want to have too much overhead. We don't want too much... We talk about complexity. Ease of understanding is one of our rules here for Homebrew, but it's actually a little bit of extra burden to maintain the information. I would say you just give that other person that number rolled on any d20 roll they're going to make in the next hour. Treat it kind of like a bardic inspiration, except they're not rolling the dice. They just get the flat number. I get it. But that way they can use it on a save or on on any d20 roll. I'm sorry, I don't need to list them all. You get my point. Even a death save, right? Why not? Yeah, I think that would be very useful extremely versatile. This entire subclass is actually very versatile, in my opinion. But as we will see, I feel like there is a considerable amount of overhead to maintaining it, the information in it. Let's move on to the next option here. Channel Divinity, expected outcome. When another creature, not yourself, starts their turn within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction, again, to grant them protection from misfortune or prevent them from getting lucky. Don't try that in the bar, guys. For protection, all their dice rolls that turn are less than half the dice type become half the dice type. So if you roll a 2 on a d8, it will become a 4. For anti-luck, all their dice rolls that turn that are more than half the dice roll become half the dice plus 1. So a 7 on a d8 would become a 5. Right, yeah. So you're either, yeah, I don't say round up, round down. Don't worry about it. The way they described it is right. You're either going to go divide it in half or divide it in half plus 1, whether you're giving good luck or bad luck. Now, this would also include d20 checks. So the example is a d8 die, but this would be true for any die rolled, including d20s, like on an attack roll. How versatile is this? So remember, it's tied to a channel divinity, so you're only going to get a handful of these. But any creature besides yourself, so ally or foe that are within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to give them this effect for their turn. All their dice rolls for that turn. Okay. Right. So we should specify, though. We should specify because presumably you're not saying that you have to take this reaction on their turn. It's just at any point when it's not your turn, you can use reaction. Can you use your own reaction on your turn? Maybe. Sure. Yeah, I don't think that's against the rules. But here's what we're saying: you're going to pick somebody at any point in a round of combat. No, I see what you're saying. No. Okay, I'm getting confused between rounds and turns. What Outrageous is saying is that on any given turn, in a combat round, you will use your reaction to target someone for that turn. Whether it's their turn or your turn or another enemy's turn, the target creature is going to have this either get lucky or get unlucky feature. Theoretically, I think what Outrageous is envisioning is that on the creature's turn, your ally or your foe, you use reaction, you say, "Oh, I'm going to bestow this on you, this good luck, bad luck thing, and until your turn ends, every dice roll you make is going to be at that lucky, unlucky thing." Yeah, I think that's what's going on there. Interesting. I'll tell you what I like about it is the fact that it is versatile in the sense of, say, a death save. One of your allies is down on the ground within 30 feet of you. You could use this, your reaction at the start of their turn, to give them the anti-lucky feat. But it would guarantee that whatever all their dice rolls that turn out more than... Now, you wouldn't want to do that. No, that wouldn't help. Well, I'm overthinking it. But I do get what you're saying. You're pulling down high rolls to essentially 11, and you're pulling low rolls up to 10. No, okay. This still would work for the death save. You would give them the luckiness, right? Because it would pull any roll that was less than 10 up to 10, thus giving them a death save. Because 10 or greater on a death save works. So that's a super versatile example. But otherwise, yeah, any other combat rolls and stuff they're doing. Say you have you're fighting against an enemy who has 3 attacks per turn. You would give them the anti-luck. So every time they make that attack roll, it's going to drop the value on that d20 down to an 11, 11, 11, then whatever they add on to it. But it might really help them land some misses. Or you put it on your ally, your own fighter, who's going to action surge that turn. And you could befall their attack rolls up to a minimum of 10, because it only kicks in if it's below half. if you choose. So that's the thing. It's only hitting one half or the other, which I guess is a little complex, right? Like, so you're either saying if anti-luck is only going to affect rolls, all the rolls that turn out to be more than half get pulled down. But if you give them luck, it's only the rolls that are less than 10 that get pulled up to 10. Anything above 10, it wouldn't affect on the luck side. If they roll the 19, they keep the 19. I will move on. Definitely. I think it's doable. I don't think it's too complex, but you'd really want to read through the subclass and have your DM read through it once. And then have it handy on paper to talk through scenarios to make sure folks really understand it. Because a one-time glance, I don't think anyone's going to completely grasp this immediately on the first read. I'll be really brutally honest. But that's true for a lot of effects in D&D. A lot of spells, a lot of effects. You don't get all the nuance in one go. Here we go. Aura of Effort. Starting at 7th level, you and all creatures within 10 feet of you ignore critical success and failures unless the creature making that roll has advantage or disadvantage. If they have advantage on attack rolls, they crit on a roll of 19 or 20. I would not say attack rolls. I would again refer to it as a d20 check. Again, in the example of... No, here's what I would say. If they have advantage on a d20 check, they treat 19s as a 20, as a natural 20. Again, in the example of a death save, someone's down on the ground, one of your allies, and they roll a 19 on their death save. It's like, By changing the verbiage that way, you would then make that the equivalent of a 20. They would then recover with 1 hit point. So I don't think there's any bonus you're saying by just, you're essentially thinking, well, there is no critical success on skill checks or on whatever. So I'm just going to only pigeonhole that you can still crit on a 19 or 20 on attack rolls, but just make it so that, no, if you have advantage, a 19 counts as a natural 20 roll. Just for verbiage on any d20 roll. That's how I would do that. And does 1 count anywhere? Yeah, 1, again, for death save throws. If you roll a 1, it counts as 2 death fails. There's not a lot of other critical failure mechanics in D&D, but there may be spells and stuff out there. I don't know that you need to add for the disadvantage that a 2 would count as a 1. It probably would make that block a little too kludgy. But I really like... I think it's important what you're doing with the attack roll critting on a 19 or 20. Because most characters don't get to do that. They only crit on a 20. There's some fighter types that can crit on a 19 or 20. But I think that ignoring critical successes and critical failures by itself is too weak of an aura. So I like this caveat that where if a creature has advantage on the attack roll, they will crit on a 19 and a 20. I like that. Now, all creatures that you choose, all creatures. So that means enemies would gain the benefit on those 19 and 20 crits. Maybe that's part of what being a Paladin of Merit is about, though, is that it's not about unbalancing. It's about leveling things off a lot. Yeah. Okay. I'm okay with that. Your Paladin would have to use it strategically for when enemies are not in a position to have advantage, right? So like you have a wolf pack attacking your party and the wolves are all in among you. There's 4 of them, there's 4 of you, but they're gaining pack tactics. You might want to turn that ability off, but you could do that, right? Or Paladins could turn off their auras, right? Not always on. And then obviously at 18th level, the range of that aura will increase to 30 feet. That makes it really... You really got to pay attention then to who you're bestowing the aura on. I do almost wonder if you need to specify in there that creatures you choose. Because most of the other Paladin auras are creatures you choose to target. Or does it make the aura too powerful? That might be why you did it. For proper balance. Because if you're negating... or if you could choose just the enemies don't get critical failures or critical hits, but your party does. Oh, I actually kind of like the idea of making a rule, a mechanic that it's not obvious that it's good or bad, right? Like like sometimes you're flipping through the feats and you're like, oh my god, like this feat is like, I want that. Is there any way I can get this on my wizard? Yeah, like this is so good. This would be good for any class. And there are other feats where you're reading through or a spell and you're just like, gosh, that's so niche. It's like, would that ever really come up? This is sort of this bizarre blend between the two where you realize there's a lot of power to it because landing crits matters, or avoiding a crit matters. There's big tide changers in a combat. But it's not obvious whether it'll hurt you or help you. And I think that's okay. I don't think it needs to be obvious. I think it's occasionally interesting and fine for someone to play and use ambiguous powers, play an ambiguous character where it's not, sometimes it is good and sometimes it isn't good, sometimes it sucks, sometimes it saves the day. Yeah, why not? It's interesting. It is interesting. There's a lot to think about. The fact that that a player who has this class would be thinking about, like, is this the right time? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, let's move on. Boon/curse at 15th level. You can imbue. We need a better name though. Boon curse. Boon curse. Curse. Booners. Yeah, that's better. Booners. Okay. At 15th level, you can imbue a creature with a long-term effect. When you cast a spell that affects only one creature other than you that requires concentration to maintain, if you maintain concentration for its entire duration, you can make the effect permanent. Oh my gosh, yes. I may say though, only up to a 4th level spell. Because obviously I don't know every spell in the book, but some of the stuff at the you get 6th level, 8th level spells could get too much. So this is very powerful, and I understand it's a 15th level thing, but you are like permanently putting it on somebody. I'd probably restrict it to 4th level spells or lower. Okay, there's a little more though. You can only have one of these effects at a time. This is critical to balance, because otherwise this would be broken as nookie. You can only have one of these effects active at a time. The spell slot used is lost until you choose either dismiss the effect or automatically if you try to make a new permanent effect. Okay, that kind of offsets what I said earlier about spell slot 4 or lower, because you're essentially saying, do you want to bind up one of your 8th level spell slots for days of gameplay? Go ahead. That is a big detriment. It is a big trade-off. But again, there might just be some 8th level spell slot that is where you could just make one of your teammates ungodly powerful. Right? Like I know there's spells in it that where you were just be like, ah, shit. While this is active, and there's nothing that's going to take that away, that permanent effect, probably save a greater restoration, or this paladin removing that boon curse. I think it could get crazy too powerful. So yes, even with the caveat that it's hosing up your spell slot, it's absorbing it while that lasts. I think that's a good downward pressure on the power scaling. It's a good balance, but I think there's got to be a cap on the spell slot effect. Spell level. Yeah? Okay. I mean, if anyone's reading this, flip through here and find a high level spell that would break this to shit, and let us know in the comments, for real. Because I have a feeling there's some out there where it'd just be like, you can't do this, man. That's why we play test. That's why we review. Okay. I think this is great though. This is really strong. No matter what, no matter how you word it, whether it's got the spell limit or not, it's very powerful. But it is at level 15, so I don't think it's inappropriate. It is cool as heck. It is really versatile. I mean, this whole class is just insanely dynamically versatile to good and ill. It's crazy. Here we go. Pains into gains. At 20th level, you can use your action to emanate an aura that empowers the weak. For 1 minute, you emit a 30-foot aura with the following effects. All creatures of your choice with less than half of their hit points gain advantage on all d20 rolls, gain temporary hit points equal to your paladin level, and deal 1d8 extra radiant damage with their weapon attacks. Yeah, I like that. I would even put weapon attacks and unarmed attacks, personally, because you know what? Sometimes your peasants just gotta like punch their boss in the head. It's good. It's good. This is a timely subclass, my friend. Timely subclass you come up with here. All creatures of your choice with full hit points gain disadvantage on all attack rolls, saving throws, and d20 rolls. D20 rolls. All the d20 rolls, including death saves. When a creature makes a damage roll, you can use your reaction. I like that. To grant that attack smite using your spell slots, or reduce the damage of that attack by 1d8 plus 1d8 per spell slot you consume. So you are just, as a reaction, bestowing a smite on someone else. Or a reverse smite. Yeah, you're reverse smiting. You've invented that. Good job. It's actually pretty cool. That is, but at level 20, yeah, that's completely appropriate. And once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. So yeah, this is your, it's either your role play moment where you've freed the peasants, right, from their oppressor, you know, and then they're gonna go nuts and hoist the king on his petard. You know what I'm saying? Or it's the final boss fight, and you just use it because it's gonna help you win a lot, because you get to choose the creatures that are less than half, and you get to also choose the creatures that are at full that gain from the pluses or minuses. It gets rid of the ambiguity of, would this be better or worse? Is this going to help us or hurt us? I'm not quite sure. No, with this, it literally is saying all creatures of your choice, all creatures of your choice. So you get to pick and choose, and you get both those values. So when your allies are below half, you're gonna like boost them, and all of your enemies that are at full health, you're gonna detriment them. You get both at the same time. But I think it's great. I think it's a great power that you're gonna use every time you can, and it's at level 20. It's end game, super powerful mechanics. So there's no issue of overpowering. And one thing that I really like about this subclass is that it is about giving cool abilities to the other characters around you, whether they're PCs or NPCs. You're lifting up, you're pushing you're pushing down the villains, the bad guys. It's not about you empowering the paladin, your character. It's not about your character. You're doing stuff. It's like you get a buff, you get a bane, you get a buff, you get a bane, and that's a cool mechanic. Like it's really cool. But the other side of that double-edged sword is that it makes a lot of work. This is one of the most mind tax heavy subclasses I've ever seen, and it's going to put a lot of burden onto your DM. Because oh no, DM, remember that no, his health just dropped below. No, he had 29 hit points, but now he's at 27 hit points, so now he's below half. And you have to account for this, you got to take this much off of that roll, and your DM's going to be like, you wouldn't want a lot of subclasses like this at a table. And to play I mean, this goes back to the power gamer thing, right? Where I talk about power gaming, I don't mean the guy who can roll 25 average damage on every attack. That's not power gaming. FYI. It's not power gaming. Power gaming is dominating the role play in the time, the real time at your table with your character, because your character is able to take so many actions to do so many things, has so much stuff they can do, and you as the player know. I probably should make a video about this. This is a power gamers build subclass, because it lets you take so much of the clock time. Real clock at the table is that's power gaming, folks. FYI, if anyone doesn't know, you can power game by being a role player. And I'm not saying that's good. I'm saying you got to be super careful. This is why I bring it up. That's why I should probably make a video about it. Because when you are that person who has tons of role play and mechanical capabilities with their characters, partially because of who they are as a role player, the player, and what they've done with the build with their character, you can hog a lot of time and effort. You got to be careful. Sometimes you got to know when to shut up and just sit in the corner and say, you know what, for the next 20 minutes, my character ain't going to say nothing. You guys, you take this scene. You got to do that when you really know how to. This is the thing, is that a lot of people think power gaming is about getting that +3 shield, that it's like, my number high. I do good. I roll high number. It's like, we all know, we've all seen it, and that's where it leads into, what the hell is the term for it? The person who's the most important person at the, I can't believe all the horror stories I read, and I can't remember the term for it. When your character is like the story hog. I can't think of the term we use, but you get my point. If you're going to play this subclass, you have to use it lightly. I would use it at the proper roleplay moments. You're not going to want to bring these abilities into every turn, every round of combat. It's a tough one. And if you're at the table with another build that has this much mechanical versatility, you're going to really be taken away from some of the other players. So word of warning. I think for me, this is A+ in concept and coolness, but I'd say it's like a C- in practicality at the table, averaging out to somewhere in a B for the subclass, only because it is how it affects the other players. That's why it's a fairness to time and role play capabilities, your DM's time managing the special abilities. Yeah. Thank you, Outrageous. You made a very thought-provoking subclass. Like, I don't, it's just, I love the subclass. I love playing Paladins. I could 100% see taking something like this. If it was in the official book, I'd grab it for sure. But word of warning to the player, use something like this lightly. You're going to make a power build, use it sparingly, because otherwise people will not appreciate it. It will get old real quick for everyone else. And we all got to be careful of that. When we're making strong builds or we're strong role players, we have to go lightly. We have to pump the brakes on our role play. Okay. If you watched, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Outrageous, for sharing. And by all means, folks, r/homebrew fever dreams. Put your homebrew whatever out there. Please share stuff. That's the kind of the point of this, just sharing other people's creativity. That was the whole point of doing the whole Homebrew Fever Dreams channel. Creativity. You put it out there. Only 2 people know about it. I'm here to make it so 10 people know about it. That's all I'm doing with these channels. All right? All right. Take care.